Proverbs 12:4. A wife of noble character is her husband's crown, but a disgraceful wife is like decay in his bones. Brother, pause. Breathe. Look around. Look at the world we live in. Look at its brokenness, its beauty, its chaos, its legacy. Every name you know, every man who left a mark, kings, prophets, warriors, reformers, visionaries, they all shared one critical truth. They rose or fell not just by their strength, but by the woman they chose to stand beside them. Not the one they flirted with. Not the one who gave them butterflies. Not the one who looked good in public but broke them in private. The one they gave access to their heart, their thoughts, their time, their future. Because a woman isn't just a companion. She's a multiplier. She's a mirror. She reflects your standard, magnifies your vision, or exposes your lack of one. So I won't sugarcoat it, brother. Who are you choosing? Not who you're dating, not who you're entertaining, not who's convenient in the moment. Who are you building with? Because the Bible isn't silent on this. Proverbs 18:22 says, "He who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord." Did you catch that? Finds a wife. Not just any woman, not a fling, not a fantasy. A wife, a woman set apart, a woman of virtue, of strength, of dignity, a woman who fears the Lord. Let's talk real for a second. Samson had strength like no man before him. He was chosen by God, anointed from birth, a one-man army. But Delilah, she didn't need to outmatch his strength. She just needed access to his weakness. She whispered into his soul until he handed over the key to his downfall. And just like that, the mighty man was bound. Solomon had wisdom, divine wisdom. He wrote Proverbs. He built the temple. He judged with justice. But in the end, his heart was turned away, not by enemies on the battlefield, but by women who did not walk with God. Women he allowed into covenant. Women who slowly led his heart to idols. What am I trying to say? You can have strength, wisdom, vision, and purpose. But if you join yourself to someone who doesn't honor the calling on your life, you'll drift. You'll fall, and you may not even notice until it's too late. But now, hear me clearly. This isn't just a warning. It's a revelation of hope. Because if the wrong woman can pull a man down, then the right woman? Oh, she can launch him into destiny. She is a multiplier. She takes the seed you plant and gives you back fruit. She takes a house and turns it into a home. She takes vision and births legacy. She speaks with wisdom. She walks with grace. She builds with prayer. She's not just beside you, she's with you. Spiritually, emotionally, eternally. Proverbs chapter 31 verse 26 says, "She opens her mouth with wisdom, and the teaching of kindness is on her tongue." That kind of woman? She's rare. She's precious. She's powerful. Not because of how she looks, but because of how she lives. Because of who she is when no one is watching. Because of how she prays for you in secret. Because she sees your potential when no one else does, and she protects it like it's her own. Let's go deeper. Let's talk about Ruth. A widowed foreigner. No fame, no fortune, no future, at least in the eyes of the world. But what did she have? Faithfulness, integrity, honor. She worked in the fields with her hands, honored her mother-in-law, and chased after God with humility and grit. She didn't chase Boaz, she chased obedience. And Boaz, he didn't just see a woman, he saw favor. And their union? It didn't just bring happiness, it brought legacy. Their lineage led to King David. And from David came the Messiah, Jesus Christ. Do you see it now? The power of the right woman? She doesn't just bless her man, she blesses generations. She doesn't just build a life, she builds a legacy. So brother, again, who are you choosing? Not based on how she makes you feel for a moment. Not based on chemistry, convenience, or comfort, but based on purpose, destiny, alignment, vision, faith. Because when God sends a woman into your life, she won't just make you feel loved. She'll make you better. She'll stretch you, challenge you, support you, pray for you, cover you. And when the storms come, and they will come, she won't run. She'll stand beside you with strength in her spirit and fire in her eyes, saying, "We're going to make it together." So don't just look for a woman. Look for a wife, a builder, a warrior, a helper, a partner in purpose, because your legacy depends on it. Look at Esther. She wasn't loud. She didn't demand attention with extravagant displays of emotion. She wasn't reckless in her actions or driven by impulse. No, she was wise. She was strategic. She knew the power of timing. She understood that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is wait and listen. Esther didn't need to tear her husband down in private or manipulate him for her gain. She didn't use her beauty, her charm, or her position to demand respect. Instead, she used her influence, her wisdom, and her courage to move with purpose. She approached the king, not in her own strength, but under the covering of God's will. And in doing so, she saved an entire nation. That's the power of a woman who moves with purpose. She doesn't just influence her man, she influences nations. She doesn't just lift you up, she lifts everyone around you. Her wisdom doesn't just speak into your life, it echoes through generations. And then there's Mary. Mary was not from royalty. She didn't have wealth. She wasn't known for her beauty or her social media following. She wasn't living in the lap of luxury or attending the most lavish parties. Mary was from a small, humble town. She was ordinary, yet she had something that made her extraordinary. A heart completely surrendered to God, a heart that said, "Let it be done to me according to your will." God didn't choose Mary because she was impressive by the world's standards. He chose her because of her character, her purity, her faithfulness. She was a woman whose heart was completely aligned with his purposes, and because of that, God entrusted her with the most sacred mission of all time, to carry the Savior of the world. Think about that. God didn't choose a queen, he didn't choose a celebrity, he didn't choose someone rich or powerful in the world's eyes. He chose a simple, faithful woman, a woman who feared the Lord. This is what we must understand, brothers. God is not impressed by what the world sees. He sees the heart. He values the quiet strength. He looks for purity, integrity, and humility. And that's the kind of woman he calls. Not the one chasing fame or status, but the one chasing God with everything she has. Proverbs chapter 31 verse 10 tells us, "A wife of noble character who can find, she is worth far more than rubies." This isn't just a metaphor, it's a divine declaration. A noble woman is rare. She's not easily found in clubs, parties, or casual flings. She's not the woman everyone is talking about in the gossip circles. She is a standard, one set by God. Her value isn't in her looks, her job, or her social media following. Her value is in her character, her faith, her wisdom, and her strength. And here's the truth we must face, brothers. That standard is a reflection of you. The woman you choose to partner with is a mirror to your own heart. If you're drawn to a woman whose values are shallow, whose morals are loose, whose goals are self-centered, what does that say about you? What does it say about the standards you've set for your own life? The woman you choose is more than just a reflection of your taste in beauty. She's a reflection of your soul. If you choose a woman driven by vanity and self-indulgence, what will that teach your children? How will she lead your home, your legacy, your family? Because a woman who lacks wisdom doesn't just drain her man, she misguides her household. She fills your home with confusion. She creates chaos, not peace. She pulls everything into disorder and strife. But a wise woman? A woman who understands the weight of her purpose, who moves with dignity and strength. She speaks into your weakness and turns it into strength. She builds your house with wisdom. She nurtures your children with grace. She brings peace where there was once chaos. She aligns your house with purpose and vision, not with momentary desires. You see, a noble woman doesn't just live for the moment. She lives for eternity. Her influence extends far beyond her lifetime. She doesn't just make you feel good today. She makes you better tomorrow. She doesn't just follow trends. She sets the tone for a life built on faith, wisdom, and love. So, brother, if you want a woman who will help you build a life, one who will stand by you in times of trial and triumph, if you want a woman who will multiply what you give her, become the kind of man who can honor and cherish such a woman. Because the truth is, you don't attract what you want. You attract what you are ready for. If you are a man of purpose, a man of vision, a man of character, then you will attract a woman who reflects that same purpose, vision, and character. And together, you will build something eternal. But if you settle for less, if you choose based on the temporary, then you will reap the consequences of that choice. You'll waste time, you'll waste energy, and you'll miss out on the fullness of the destiny God has for you. A noble woman is rare. She's not hiding. God is just hiding her for the man who is prepared to walk with her in purpose. So choose wisely, brother, because the woman you choose will either shape your destiny or hinder it. And the legacy you leave will depend on the woman you walk beside. Proverbs chapter 14 verse 1 says, "The wise woman builds her house, but with her own hands the foolish one tears hers down." That's not just a proverb, it's a spiritual principle. It's God's blueprint for how homes either thrive or collapse. It shows us a truth that culture often forgets. A woman is not just part of the home, she is one of its pillars. You, as a man, may provide the structure, the frame, the walls, the roof. But the woman you choose, she decides what fills it. She creates the atmosphere. She sets the rhythm. She determines whether the home becomes a sanctuary of peace or a breeding ground for stress, confusion, and brokenness. And here's the real question. Who are you building with? If you choose a woman who thrives on conflict instead of communication, if she listens only to respond instead of listening to understand, if her pride is louder than her prayers, then peace will not survive. And brother, no matter how strong you are, no matter how much success you have outside those walls, if your home is a war zone, you will be a warrior without rest. A man without peace is a man on the edge, because your house should be your haven, not your battlefield. Proverbs chapter 21 verse 9 says, "It is better to live on the corner of the roof than share a house with a quarrelsome wife." In today's terms, it's better to sleep in your car than live in constant conflict. Better to be alone in peace than partnered in pain. That verse isn't exaggeration, it's divine wisdom. Because strife at home drains a man faster than any challenge outside. A nagging voice, constant drama, and emotional manipulation will wear you down. Not just emotionally, but spiritually. Even physically. You were not created to fight in the world and come home to fight again. You were created to lead with love, to protect with purpose, to build in peace. And if the woman beside you doesn't understand that, she will sabotage your vision. Let me ask you this. If you choose a woman who lacks self-control, discipline, and spiritual maturity, how will your children grow? What will they inherit? Because you're not just choosing a partner. You're choosing the mother of your children, the first voice they will hear, the first example of love, strength, and womanhood they will ever know. A household without godly structure doesn't just raise noisy kids, it raises lost kids. Children without guidance grow up without conviction. They become easy prey for a world that feeds them lies, offers them counterfeit love, and applauds their destruction. And it goes deeper. If your wife dishonors you in front of your children, how will your son learn to lead? Because he's watching. He watches how his mother treats his father. He hears her tone, he feels the tension. He sees the way she speaks disrespectfully, impatiently, maybe even with contempt. And what he sees, he absorbs. He will grow up and repeat it. Not because he's defiant, but because that's what was modeled. He will think love is supposed to hurt. He'll believe that to be a man is to be silent, even when you're slowly breaking inside. He'll think leadership means enduring disrespect just to keep peace. And your daughter? She will grow up thinking that the way her mother spoke to her father is acceptable. She'll enter her own marriage with that same tone, that same edge, that same control. Not out of cruelty, but out of familiarity. Because that's what she learned, that's what she lived. You see, brother, this isn't just about compatibility or chemistry. It's about legacy. We've made the role of a wife sound secondary, like she's just an accessory to a man's journey. But the truth is, she is a co-architect of legacy. You may lay the foundation, but she decides what gets built on top of it. She decides the climate. She influences the children. She shapes the values that govern the next generation. She becomes the echo of your household spirit, either peace or pain. And if the foundation is cracked, through pride, manipulation, disrespect, or emotional instability, then the structure will not survive. And when it falls, you don't just lose the marriage. You lose the future. You lose the legacy. You lose the spiritual strength you were meant to pass down. Weak homes create weak sons, sons who cannot stand, sons who are swayed by culture, sons who crumble under pressure, sons who confuse lust for love, compromise for peace, and silence for strength. And weak sons lead to a weak generation, one that is loud but empty, bold but broken, a generation that seeks affirmation instead of identity in Christ, that chases status instead of calling. So before you chase beauty, before you commit because of comfort, before you mistake passion for purpose, ask yourself, will she pray for me or prey on me? Will she build with me or break what I'm building? Will our home be filled with light or slowly darken with resentment and pride? Because here's the unfiltered truth. A man's kingdom is only as strong as the queen he chooses. She will either be your multiplier or your mistake, your safe place or your storm, your covering or your curse. Choose a woman who fears God more than she fears losing you. Choose a woman who speaks life over you, not death, who listens before she argues, who builds without ego, who prays without ceasing, who teaches your children the word before the world teaches them lies. Choose a woman who understands that marriage is ministry, not just romance, because if you do, your home will be more than a place. It will be a fortress, a refuge, a launching pad for destiny, and a legacy that echoes for generations. Choose wisely, build intentionally, love deeply, lead spiritually, because the right woman doesn't just make your life better. She makes your legacy unstoppable. If this message has touched your heart, I encourage you to share it with others who may be facing similar struggles. You never know who might need the encouragement to make positive changes in their life. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, and let us know where you're watching from in the comments. Thank you for joining us today, and may God bless you in your journey toward purity, healing, having a closer relationship with Him, and He may guide you on your path to holiness. We'll see you in the next video.